I'm Chef Luis Cortez, the owner of Savor Gather Personal Chef Services in Nashville, Tennessee. Today, I'm gonna do Latin cuisine. So today I'm gonna present you 3 dishes. One is gonna be a grilled peach ceviche with some root vegetable crouton. The other is gonna be a skirt steak with a pomegranate chimichurri, mofongo with some spicy mayo ketchup, and a baby arugula salad. And my dessert dish is gonna be a different twist on a tres leche. Let's get right into it. Okay, right now I'm gonna start with grilled peach ceviche with a root vegetable crouton. So let's get started right away. We're gonna have our fish. Here is a white fish. We're gonna take that. I'm gonna put on some gloves to start cutting my fish to marinate it inside of my lemon. Well, sorry, cure it inside of my lemon lime juice. We just make it like into squares, cut it, and pretty quickly we put it into a bowl. And we're going to start marinating, curing our fish with our lemon and lime. So I utilize lemon and lime because of the fact that the lime tends to be a little acid, but actually limes are the lemon of the Hispanic culture. We don't have the yellow lemons in Latin America. It's just the limes. That's what we call lemons. So we put enough lemon and lime juice to cover the fish completely, and basically let it submerge underneath all of that juice, so like that it can cure completely. Oop, little squirter there. So, okay, I think we're good here. So what I do is I also season a little with some salt at this time. So as the lemon and lime juice is penetrating, the salt is penetrating also. So I recommend that we do about overnight, I would say from 8 to 12 hours, but let's just say overnight. I think that's the best we can do. So I have already cured fish. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna strain it out. Let it strain out fully, because that juice tends to be a little harsh if we leave it in. It's gonna have that citrus and that acid inside of our fish. So we wanna strain it because we don't want too much of that acidity. It's gonna overpower. So we're gonna dice up some peppers and onion to put into our fish. It'll give it an element of flavor and garnish also. That's why I'm utilizing different colors. These are sweet bell peppers. Okay, and we got some red onions. Let me dice these up. And we're gonna add some cilantro to that too. We utilize a lot of cilantro in the Latin culture. Okay. So the peach, we're in peach season now in Tennessee. So we're, you know, that's where the inspiration came from of me doing a grilled peach. The grilled part, what it gives it a little bit of smokiness to it, and a little more of originality. So not only just take the peach to sweetness, it gives it the sweetness and the smokiness. So we have our fish with our peppers. We're gonna take now our cilantro, chop up cilantro. Not a whole lot. We use a bigger knife. Doesn't have to be perfect. It can be sort of like a rough chop. This is going to give it flavor and color too. Okay. And keep mixing this in. Now we're going to do something that's called leche de tigre. It's tiger milk, they would call it. But it's some celery, ginger, and garlic, and we grind that up with just a touch of water. And I'm gonna put grilled peaches in there for that element of that flavor, and to give it some more extra smokiness to it with the charred peaches. We're gonna save a few for the end for garnishing element, so our plate looks pretty. Put that aside. Put that in our mixture, and we can mix that in. And so what I have here now is some dehydrated peach powder. So I'm gonna add that to add an extra flavor of peach. 2.5 teaspoons, let's say. Mix that in. Make sure that our peach flavor comes out. And we're going to add a touch of olive oil. Okay. We got this ready for now. What we're going to work on now is our crouton. And while I start the process of the crouton, it's going to be a few minutes. We'll be back. So we're back. So I'm going to do my alcaboria croutons. So this is root vegetable with some ground up root vegetable. It has taro. It has cassava, or they call it yuca, and some green bananas, some sofritos, some plantains in it, ground up all together. This blend is usually used in a street food that we basically make it like a cylinder type of thing. It's a hot dog sort of, but it's filled with beef or seafood or whatever you like. So I just took this and want to make a crouton out of it and make it a little more interesting, the dish. Combine two different things into one. So while this is cooking off, I'll start my plating process. Okay, So we have our ceviche. I'm gonna finish with just a little more seasoning on it. We initially seasoned it with some salt so the salt can get absorbed while the fish is getting marinated, cured. Salt and pepper. I use pink salt so it's not that salty as table salt. I use table salt in the beginning of the process. So we're gonna use this margarita glass. And then, like I said, we're gonna utilize our grilled peaches just to put on the edge to garnish a little bit for a garnishing element. And we have our root vegetable croutons here. The ones that are cooking are a little extra, so just wanted you to show you the process of the dish. So we have our grilled peach ceviche with our root vegetable croutons. And then we'll go into our other dish. We'll be back after this. Okay, we're gonna start with our main course dish. It's gonna be a mofongo with a skirt steak and baby arugula salad. Reason why I'm having a salad too, because this is a kind of a heavy starch dish. So we're gonna make it a smaller smaller amount of starch on the dish, and we're going to accompany it with a baby arugula so it doesn't sit heavy on the stomach. So we're going to fry these off, cut them diagonally, these plantains. Let me make sure my oil is hot. Yep. Cut them diagonally, try to get them more or less even sized. Get them in my oil. So you want to cook them till about golden brown. You don't want to go too dark on them. You want to make sure that they're fully cooked, but not to an extent that it gets too dark. So while that's cooking, we're gonna season up our skirt steak. Some salt. So well, at least I do, we usually season up steak as right before you're gonna cook it, because obviously the salt in any meat will dehydrate it. So you don't want that to happen. You want to have a nice, maybe medium rare, depending on the color of the steak you want, the cut you want, and the temperature you want. So we're gonna start with our chimichurri too. We're gonna have a chimichurri sauce. It's gonna be a pomegranate chimichurri sauce for that. Gonna cut that up, and then this is gonna be, I'm gonna add, this is parsley. I'm gonna add my pomegranate juice and some seeds with our tricolor peppers and some red onions to give it a little color and some more flavor too. And to that we're gonna add some extra virgin olive oil, so that olive oil will give it some nice flavor. I cut up my peppers and onions. So this dish, the mofongo, is basically a dish, traditional dish from Puerto Rico, but in the Dominican Republic they make a dish that's similar. It's called Mangu, but what they do is they boil the plantains instead of fry them. So a lot of people have the confusion and they say that is the mofongo is from the DR, but it's not. The Mangu is from the DR, yes. Keep adding our ingredients to our chimichurri sauce. And we'll flip our plantains. Want them to cook evenly on both sides. Okay. And we're going to add a little onion to that, the red onion. I think we need a little more parsley. It's a little light on parsley there, so what I usually do is for my chimichurri, I add, instead of adding some vinegar, I add some lemon and lime juice to give it that acid, and the oil, the olive oil, the extra virgin olive oil I mentioned. So we're going to add our lemon and lime juice. Here goes my pomegranate juice and the seeds going in there. Not all of them. We're going to add our salt and pepper before we add our oil, because we want our salt to dissolve. You add the oil, salt takes longer to dissolve. Much longer. Mix this up a little bit. And we add our juice. Lemon and lime juice to give it that acidic touch. I try to always use lemon and limes to balance out. Lemon juice is less acidic than the lime, so I try to balance that out a little bit. Mix this in, and we go with our oil. Okay, I think our chimichurri is almost about done. Let that sit for a few minutes to basically distribute the flavors inside the sauce. So we're gonna take out our plantains and mash them into our mortar. This is a wooden mortar. This is how you usually do mofongo. You just put the plantains in here and you start mashing. So my ingredients for my mofongo is going to be butter, some lardons or bacon, some garlic, chicharrones or pork rinds, and some chicken stock with a little bit of that pork fat in there. So let me pull these out. Shut that off. And I'm heating up my pan to cook my skirt steak. So let's go a little bit higher there. So while I'm making my mofongo, my skirt steak is going to be cooking. Timing is everything. Okay. So we'll start by putting our plantains in here and start mashing them slowly. I'm not going to add any liquid yet because of the fact that I don't want that liquid to splash on me. I want it to basically mash it up and then incorporate the liquid little by little. and the other ingredients also. Okay, now I can start adding some ingredients because I have, I guess, my plantains pretty well mashed. I'm gonna add some lard and some bacon. Add some of our chicken stock with our bacon fat and some of the pork rinds. We chop this up a little bit, very lightly. It's gonna get mashed up in there anyway. Okay, and so while my skirt steak is cooking, I'm gonna add a little bit of oil to that. While my skirt steak is cooking, we'll be back. Okay, our steak is done, our mofongo is done. So right now what we're gonna do, we're gonna start plating our dish here. So we take this, we look for some kind of mold to plate. I spray it with a little bit of oil. Make sure it doesn't stick. Take it out of the mortar and then mold it here in our dish here in our mold. This is a soup cup, but you can utilize anything you like. Okay. And I make sure that go through the rim of the plate, make sure it doesn't stick. Now put that on my plate. There we go. And we're gonna start plating our steak. Let this rest 2 minutes here while we put the salad on the plate. So like I mentioned, I try to put a salad with this dish because it's a little, the starch is pretty heavy and I don't put as much. In the Puerto Rican culture, yes, they do eat a lot, and this is probably not even half of a mofongo that they make over there, but I try to keep it light. So we're making our little salad. We're gonna cut our heirloom tomatoes here to add to our salad. And then since usually in the kitchen you try to cross-utilize things, what we do is I'm gonna utilize just a little bit of this chimichurri vinaigrette for my salad. So this basically, it has some acidic tones to it. And so now take our skirt steak and we slice. Lay it down. Lay down our dish. And we'll put our chimichurri sauce on top. What I try to do is just go along the rim because I don't want it to, I guess, cover my steak completely. I wanted to give it some flavor and be a garnishing element at the same time also. And for our mofongo, in Puerto Rico they use a mofongo with a mayo ketchup. So what I did was I have a spicy mayo ketchup. I like to add some spice to my dishes. So we just take this, basically put it over it, a garnish and some sauce. And there goes our dish. It's a mofongo with a skirt steak. some pomegranate chimichurri sauce, and baby arugula salad. We'll be back with our next dish. So right now we're gonna do our dessert dish. Our dessert dish is gonna be an ube tres leche. Ube is a purple yam extract that comes from the Philippines. So right now we have the 3 milks here. The 3 milks is evaporated milk, some heavy cream, and coconut milk. I keep a little reserve on the side to probably garnish our plate so it doesn't stay a little dry, maybe because a lot of times the milk gets absorbed into the cake, and that's good, but you want a little bit on the plate to make it look a little wet and nice and garnished. So we have sugar, we have our flour here. This is our self-rising flour with just about 1/3 cup of self-rising flour with about 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. And we have some mint for garnish, some berries, and some butter, and 4 eggs. And then our purple yam extract is ube. That'll be about a teaspoonful. So we have here our pan. We're gonna grease our bread pan, put it in the oven for about 25 minutes. So once we get started, we're gonna start with our eggs. We're gonna cream these eggs for about 8 to 10 minutes with our sugar and our purple yam extract. So let's get started with the creaming process. So we get our 4 eggs, we put it in our blender. We add our sugar, and that's just regular granulated sugar. We're gonna add our purple yam extract, ube extract. And we're gonna start to blend this. This is gonna blend for about 8 to 10 minutes on high speed. And we'll be back after this is done. Okay, we're back and our batter is ready. It's whipped. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna incorporate our flour into a sift. So we're gonna incorporate that little by little and fold it in. We don't wanna go too fast because we want it to basically not clump up. So I added just a touch of vanilla too, and I added a little bit, a couple drops of vanilla to this. So I let this mix for 8 to 10 minutes, and now I'm folding in the flour, the self-rising flour, and our cornstarch. It's about a 1/3 cup of self-rising flour and 2 teaspoons of cornstarch. So we're folding in our flour little by little. Don't want to go too fast. After we have our flour folded in, what I did was I lightly greased my bread pan, very lightly. I greased it with some spray, and then I took the excess off with a paper towel, because you don't want it to be with too much grease. It may end up burning the bottom of that sponge cake. So okay, we're gonna put our last bit of flour in here, and my oven is set at 350 degrees. We're gonna cook that for 25 minutes. I wouldn't recommend a lot more than that, maybe 2 or 3 more minutes after that. But if you go too further in, like 30 minutes or more, the sponge cakes tend to be dry, and then it doesn't absorb as much as you may believe. Because it's dry, it'll absorb a lot of liquid, but that's not the case. Okay, so now it's all blended in. We got to make sure. Now we put our mixture. It's a purple mixture because of our extract. Get it all in. Okay. Now it goes in the oven for 25 minutes. At 350. So I have one already ready to go. We're gonna plate our dish now. So I cut out the first piece because the first piece is usually a little harder to get out. And then I take the second piece and that's the one I plate. So to accompany this dish, it's we're doing Latin dishes. So to accompany this dish, I made a whipped cream, but a passion fruit whipped cream. But I put a touch, you probably know by now, I like a little spice, and especially in my desserts, but I put a touch of cayenne pepper in there just to elevate that a little bit because the spice helps elevate a little bit and bring down the sugar level a little bit. So we're gonna garnish a little with some berries and some mint to give it a little color profile. But our dish is already colorful with our purple cake, so I think the garnishing element may not have to be that strong. So we'll go with our whipped cream. It's a little thick. It's yellows, it's passion fruit. What I did was I bought some passion fruit powder online, and that's what I put into my whipped cream with some powdered sugar. There we go. Add a little bit of mint to elevate the dish. On the side. And as I mentioned, a little bit of that tres leche milk is never too bad on the dish to basically show that it's a tres leche, and so it's not dry. Take a little bit from the mold for the color aspect of it. Here we go. This is my ube tres leche with my passion fruit whipped cream with a touch of cayenne pepper and some berries on the side. Thank you very much. Okay, these are my 3 dishes with a take on Latin cuisine. So today I started with grilled peach ceviche and our root vegetable croutons, and main course is a skirt steak with a pomegranate chimichurri sauce and my mofongo with my spicy mayo ketchup and baby arugula salad. And my dessert was my ube tres leche with my spicy cayenne pepper passion fruit whipped cream. So that's my take on Latin dishes. So thank you very much. My name is Chef Luis Cortez, the owner of Savor Gather Personal Chef Services in Nashville, Tennessee. If you're ever in my neck of the woods, give me a call. You can find me on www.savorandgather.com, in Instagram, Chef Luis Cortez, and my Facebook is Chef Luis Cortez. Thank you very much. See you soon.